Welcome everyone to episode 13 of the Knockout. This is the beginning of round 2. We had a very fun first round with how everything went, and now, after much delay and all that, we're finally starting round 2. So, I look forward to Scarlet Witch versus Silver Surfer. So, please welcome into the show here the Comic Collector, who is arguing for the Silver Surfer. Welcome, man. How's it going?
Doing great. Thanks for having me again.
Yeah, no problem, no problem. And a guy from all the way from on the opposite side of the country, we got some Sam or Triple D Dodgeball. So welcome, man. How's it going?
It's going very good. Thank you.
Going good, good, good. So I'm glad to have both of you guys here. So I look forward to your matchups, and I do appreciate you, Sam, for agreeing to be on the show to basically take over for Scarlet Witch. So I do appreciate it. So
Sure.
the rules have been explained. There's one official challenge per person and all that. You know, if there's an argument that you feel is irrelevant or not fair, you know, some sort of, you know, like Power Ranger, Voltron kind of no fair to bring a giant robot into the fight, you know, yada yada yada. You know, Wanda shouldn't be allowed to bring Vision into the fight to help her, to back her up, and Silver Surfer can't bring Galactus, yada yada, whatever you guys want to do. I usually leave it pretty loose and all that, so it's up to you guys to basically test the rounds of your argument, pros and cons and whatnot. So we will go ahead and get things started with a brief opening statement before we dive into the arguments. So take it away, Comic Collector, with your opening statement.
So as I've gone into before with the first round, Silver Surfer is one of the most powerful beings in the entire Marvel universe. There's very few that would be able to take on Silver Surfer and be able to, one, give him a challenge, and two, to take him down. Scarlet Witch I would say, has a very good chance of being able to give Silver Surfer a challenge, but there are several things that I believe would take away Scarlet Witch in this equation basically as soon as Silver Surfer wants to. Of course, Silver Surfer's never one to seek out fights. He tends to be very pacifistic. But when it comes down to it, Silver Surfer, when he wants to and feels it's necessary, can unleash power unlike few beings have ever really seen in the Marvel universe. He wields, of course, the power cosmic granted to him by Galactus. And that power cosmic he's not just able to use, but he is the foremost skilled user, arguably next to only Galactus, of the power cosmic. And when it comes to the power cosmic being, it's essentially the Force, if you'd think about it that way. It's a very untapped power source, and it's a sort of reserve bank that, depending on the skill of the user and the ability of the user, they can tap into an even greater power supply of that. So when it comes to the Silver Surfer being arguably, again, second most, if not most proficient at using the power cosmic, he would be able to use this, what is practically the greatest force in the Marvel universe, at his disposal to whatever whim that he may please. And using this power cosmic and powers granted to him by Galactus, he's able to create, of course, as he's famous for, his board that allows him to soar throughout space, going along, of course, with the coating that he has on his own skin. And this allows him to travel at speeds 4 times greater than the speed of light. And I would say he's, if not the fastest, definitely one of the fastest beings in the entire Marvel universe, which is one of his biggest strengths. Of course, he can also bend time at his will. He's also able to reality shift, just like Scarlet Witch is, which would be a big factor within this. And all of that, of course, not even getting into how powerful the power cosmic itself is as a weapon. Silver Surfer's been known to have the power to destroy planets with ease. So given how powerful the power cosmic is and how skilled Silver Surfer is at using it, I genuinely don't believe that there would be many characters that would be able to take on and possibly even defeat Silver Surfer, and I don't think Scarlet Witch is any exception to that rule.
Very good. Very good. Thank you very much for your opening statement. Take it away, Sam, with yours.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, may it please this court, hear ye, hear ye. We are here today to decide a case between the essence of feminine power and chaos versus a cosmic paperweight. My client, Wanda Maximoff, dubbed the Scarlet Witch, comes before you today to resolve this grievance in a court of law and popular opinion, rather than warping the fabric of reality in a battle for supremacy. But do not mistake this peace offering for weakness. It is the beneficence of a kind-hearted soul with the power, but not the will, to destroy the universe. The opposing party, Mr. Silver Surfer, on the other hand, is nothing more than a glorified marionette of an enormous monster called Galactus. Mr. Surfer zips around space like a puppet on a string, looking for yummy planets to feed said Galactus as an afternoon snack. While working for a powerful boss affords Mr. Surfer certain privileges, they are nothing more than fancy handcuffs. He cannot win against Ms. Maximoff because he lacks the will and the power. The evidence will show that Wanda Maximoff is the superior being. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, it is your task to decide this case without bias and without prejudice. And when you render your verdict in favor of Ms. Maximoff, I also ask that you award my attorney fees as well. Thank you.
That was a very good opening statement. Very good. So, all right. Now down to the brass taxes, beginning of the argument. So, these are both two extremely powerful individuals. You know, one, like I said, the cosmic power, one versus one that's fueled by the power of the reality stone, if my memory is correct. So, is there any weaknesses that either can exploit with the other? I mean, other than the fact that Silver Surfer literally can fly in planet and in on the planet and in space, whereas Wanda can't. Is there any kind of weakness that Wanda can exploit? You know.
Well, I think the best way to look at this is looking at the things that they've done, the people they've faced, the battles they've lost, the battles they've won. If we're to look at the Silver Surfer's exploits first, we'll start with some of the people that he's faced and lost to. Silver Surfer is a powerful individual, to be sure. No one is saying he isn't. But he simply isn't the same caliber as my client. He's lost to Nova, a B-class space cop, who was content to let Galactus eat the planet under his protection, so long as the people in his charge didn't get eaten with it. Surfer also lost to Gladiator Hulk on the planet Sakaar. That's just a bloody knuckles battle, and Mr. Surfer couldn't hack it. Likewise, he's lost to Thor and Cable. Surfer is also weak to telepaths like Moondragon, who has powerful psychic abilities like Wanda's. Surfer has been embarrassed by Adam Warlock on multiple occasions, if Galactus's lapdog is even capable of shame. But perhaps the most interesting battle in Surfer's history was against the little-known imp named Impossible Man. Impossible Man can rearrange his molecules into any form, allowing him to not only take on the shape and appearance of other objects or people, but also to duplicate their abilities. The first time that Impossible Man came into conflict with the Silver Surfer, he played pranks on him. It was all a game to the Impossible Man, and the Silver Surfer simply couldn't do anything about it. You know who else can do the impossible? That's right, Wanda Maximoff.
Very interesting. I didn't even think about Impossible Man. What's Silver Surfer's response to that, Comic Collector? I mean, that's a very good point when you bring up the Impossible Man. Almost
Sure.
the same.
And of course, Scarlet Witch has been presented as one of Marvel's most powerful characters since her inception, X-Men 4. So that's nothing new for Scarlet Witch to be presented as being incredibly strong. But if you look at it too, at the same time, Scarlet Witch and Silver Surfer have been treated very differently throughout their histories. Of course, while Scarlet Witch belonged to the X-Men, a pretty much dying brand that by the early 100s, if not before that, it was basically just reprints of earlier issues. And Scarlet Witch never really was put in any storylines to face, to win, to lose anybody for the most part. Whereas, sure, Silver Surfer he's been used as a tool a lot, especially in the 70s and 80s, where the cosmic realm was basically the entire focus of Marvel, be it characters like Silver Surfer, Adam Warlock, Thanos, Galactus, all of which, mind you, Silver Surfer has defeated. It's easy to look at people that have gotten over Silver Surfer for storyline purposes, but it's also wrong to neglect the people he has defeated. Again, you may say he is just handcuffed by Galactus, but time and time again, Silver Surfer has proved that no one will chain him, including Galactus himself. He's defeated Galactus on several occasions, and basically put him in his place. He's put Thanos in his place. He's put Adam Warlock in his place. Again, Adam Warlock also being trusted with an Infinity Stone himself, so definitely not a pushover. Silver Surfer is not necessarily defined by the people that he's lost to, or the people even that he's won against. He's mainly defined by, I would say, two things. Very similar to a Green Lantern. He's very similar to his willpower, and he's defined by his basically being a cosmic battery. And if he wants unlimited supply of the strongest energy in the entirety of the Marvel Universe, that being cosmic energy. And while sure, Scarlet Witch has the ability to reality warp, what's been shown in Marvel history is that when it comes to two reality warpers facing off against each other, they kind of just nullify each other. And sure, in the past, Silver Surfer has proved to be very weak against attacks on the mind. But that's even getting down to the fact that it would come down to that. Scarlet Witch has never been that big when it comes to that. Sure, she's an Omega level mutant, but it's never been when it comes to her mind capabilities. That's always been Xavier and Jean Grey. That's why when House of M, she couldn't just do that by herself. She had to have Xavier's help with the mutant powers that he possessed, because Scarlet Witch couldn't do it by herself. So sure, Scarlet Witch is very powerful, but she's not cosmic level powerful. She's never proven to be cosmic level powerful. When has she ever gone up against and bested the likes of Galactus, the likes of Thanos? When has that ever happened in the comics? Because I sure don't recall it. These Omega level beings have been bested by Silver Surfer. Sure, he may have lost a few times, but when has that ever happened or even come up with Scarlet Witch for her to not only lose, but to even just win against these creatures? It hasn't happened. Silver Surfer has been in this realm since the 70s, testing his will against these beings, against these Omega beings, not just Omega level mutants, but the most powerful creatures in the entirety of the Marvel Universe. Even those that have been trusted with Infinity Stones, Silver Surfer has been treated almost like a guard of the Infinity Stones themselves. Even in the prequel to Infinity War, was basically started off with Silver Surfer warning the Avengers that Thanos was coming, and he had all the Infinity Stones. Not dead, but alive. Silver Surfer has been known to, sure, take a beating, but always survive. Silver Surfer has never died. Silver Surfer will never die because he can never die. There's not a single being in the entire Marvel Universe that has ever proved powerful enough to be able to do that. Not even Galactus himself. Even though Galactus created the Silver Surfer by all intents and purposes, Silver Surfer has taken that power, mixed his will and his good intentions with it, and created and proved himself to be the most, powerful force of good in the entire Marvel Universe. And that has continued forward. Scarlet Witch just hasn't proved to have that power to be able to hold that over Scarlet Witch like Silver Surfer has.
Interesting. I mean, I guess it depends on where you get your source, MCU or the comics, but what is your response?
True. But Silver Surfer's not in the MCU either. So.
Yeah. True.
All right. In response, I'll bring in the words of one of my primary witnesses, Dr. Stephen Strange. He says, "Can you understand the delicate mindset of a woman, a person who has control over reality? It means reality controls her. Imagination becomes the enemy. Structure disappears. Reality, eventually, as she knows it, starts to slip away. elude her, blur. Drama, conflict, tragedy, they become excuses to change the world to fit the image that she has for it. Anything she doesn't like, she can change, no matter how slight. People, places, things, everything is hers to change. He was referring to none other than Wanda Maximoff. And to really understand why Wanda Maximoff wins this case, we need to understand where she comes from, who she is, and what she's capable of. To do that, we got to go back to the beginning. Wanda and her twin brother Pietro were kidnapped as children. Why? Because of her power. When she was still young, her magical power was detected by a coven of powerful witches. They hoped to bring Wanda into their coven as an apprentice. Another kidnapping happened shortly thereafter when a servant of a powerful god of chaos entered the fray to take Ms. Maximoff further away from her loving family. Perhaps if she had been left to grow in the warmth of hearth and home, she would not have been the woman she is today. But trauma has a way of making some people very strong. And that's how it was for young Wanda. During her troubled youth, she unlocked her hex power, a curiously powerful ability that makes remote and unlikely possibilities a certainty. In short, she controlled the twist of fate. Perhaps the most important meeting she had came early in her adulthood when Wanda met Magneto, one of the most powerful mutants in history, and for a time, a father for her and Pietro. Under Magneto's tutelage, Wanda became a member of the Brotherhood of Mutants, developing her powers in multiple battles against the powerful X-Men. Many of those battles she won easily. Eventually, she realized her goals did not align with Magneto's, and she moved on, joining the Avengers and finding the love of fellow Avenger, Vision. At this point, Wanda developed a new ability, spontaneous creation. Because Vision was unable to father children, Wanda created them on her own, using magic. She would soon realize that her abilities were virtually limitless. Of course, that realization would come at a price, losing her husband and children. In grief and rage, she rejected the people whose battle had led her to that point. In a simple utterance, Wanda, now the truly powerful Scarlet Witch, eliminated all mutants' abilities by simply stating, "No more mutants." Instantly, all mutants across the multiverse ceased to be mutants. That wasn't just on Earth, that was throughout all realities tied to the Marvel Universe. She is truly powerful, beyond the likes of Mr. Surfer. In fact, Mr. Surfer, who relies on the so-called power cosmic, is no match for my client. In a recent event, Darkhold Alpha, my client was faced with another user of the power cosmic, a woman named Victorious, the wife of Dr. Doom. And Wanda quelled her power and outclassed her so much that she didn't even feel the need to fight. Quite the contrary, she extended a helping hand to this Ms. Victorious. Now, I ask you, if Victorious could not withstand my client's power, what makes Mr. Surfer think he stands a chance? Mr. Surfer is nothing more than Galactus's lapdog. Hell, he isn't even Galactus's favorite lapdog. He really does not stand a chance against the embodiment of chaos and magic, a woman powerful enough to speak all mutants out of existence.
Very interesting. Very good points. I mean, you do make very good points so that Wanda, especially now in the MCU, has literally become so powerful. She created a new world, created kids, controlled society. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to imagine, people rivaling her. The only person who could stand against it legally is Comic here with Silver Surfer. So, all right. What are some pros, I guess? How's this fight gonna go down? Who's gonna strike the first blow, or how are they gonna fight? Maybe that will help people watching to vote. If that makes sense.
I mean, that'd be difficult to say, given Silver Surfer really does like staying out of trouble. He doesn't go out of his way to find trouble. But he can at times act as a sort of space police, trying to keep peace within everything going on. because I highly doubt Wanda would care too much if Surfer were being used by Galactus by that point, or if Surfer would even allow himself to be used by Galactus again at that point. But I would say Wanda maybe used her reality bending skills a little bit too far. Again, as was mentioned with House of M, which, again, as I mentioned before, Scarlet Witch was not and never will be again powerful enough to do that by herself. That was only allowed with the powers also of Xavier. And even then, her powers were not strong enough to eliminate all mutants. There were still mutants left, hence why we see remnants of that left in House and Powers of X. Wanda wasn't capable of destroying all mutants, just a lot of them. So, you know, let's say something like that were to happen again, Silver Surfer feels the need to kind of interject himself. And at that point, if Silver Surfer is chasing her out and she has no idea, because realistically, she has no power that would allow her the foresight to be able to see that. And even then, if Surfer wanted to, he could rewind time to before she even did any of that and take her out before then. But Surfer, let's say he used his power cosmic, which again is capable of destroying planets, just like Galactus is, and be able to use his immense speed and be able to basically kill Wanda before she even knows what happened. If Surfer, like I said, if he wants to, Wanda would be dead. And sure, she was able to quell Victorious, but I mean, that's like trying to compare an ant to an elephant. Sure, Victorious uses the power cosmic. Thor's uses the power cosmic. A lot of people have used the power cosmic, even Dr. Doom himself. But we're talking about Silver Surfer. Again, the most proficient user of the power cosmic, next only to possibly Galactus. And that's not going to be in any way, shape, or form compared to someone like Victorious. Sure, she uses the power cosmic, but what we're talking about isn't the use of the power cosmic. It's talking about Silver Surfer's use of the power cosmic, his personal use of the power cosmic, basically being an unlimited battery of it. And it's been shown that Silver Surfer is able to use enough of the power cosmic to be able to destroy planets, almost enough, if he truly wants to practically destroy himself in the process. He has seemingly an unlimited availability of using that power cosmic, which has come throughout the many years of fighting for Galactus, fighting against Galactus, and again, all of these other threats that would make Wanda Maximoff look like chump change. So realistically, sure, Wanda she's faced other ants before, but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about Silver Surfer. We're talking about an elephant. And would she have any way of actually being able to deal with that? If Silver Surfer didn't want her to? No, because there's no power that she has within her grasp that would be able to go up against someone like Silver Surfer with his reality altering abilities and with his immense speed, which the immense speed, again, 4, 5, 6 times the speed of light. That's something Wanda can't fight off. That's not something she has a counter for. If she doesn't expect Silver Surfer and Silver Surfer wants her dead, she's going to be dead. He has the power and he has the speed to be able to catch her off guard. Or even if he's standing right in front of her face and Silver Surfer deems that she needs to be dead, he'll be dead before Wanda can even think of changing anything that would be able to stop the Silver Surfer. Because it's been the math was worked out before, and because I was looking up who was faster, of course, between the Flash and Silver Surfer, and Silver
Objection.
is able to
Objection.
act 8 times
Flash
faster than the speed
Flash
of
is
the
not in
human
this
brain.
universe.
Well, of course he isn't, but it's going off of obviously comparing how fast. So because Flash would be very comparable to someone like Silver Surfer, but again, my point
Your Honor, I ask that the Flash be stricken from the record.
If that's how you want to use your official challenge, I mean, we can narrow it to just this universe. If that, since that's basically your argument, if that's how you want to use.
And then at that point, I'll ask to use my challenge against your bringing in House of M as a point for Wanda, because that wasn't just Wanda's powers, that was Wanda and Professor X. So if I can't bring in just a simple comparison of speed between one creature and another, I don't feel like you should be allowed to bring in an event that was caused solely by the interaction of Wanda with another Omega level mutant, that being Professor X, to fulfill something that she alone could not, as if she were to do it herself.
So
I'm just bringing up a comparison of speed.
Do you want to use your official challenge for this moment, or would you rather hold off on it? Sam.
All I want is for a fair trial for my client, Your Honor. That's all I'm asking.
Okay. Well, my ruling for this here then is just he was just using an example of their speeds as an example. He wasn't bringing it into the argument. He's just saying like this person versus that person, in a sense. He wasn't really bringing them into the argument as far as the points. It was just a comparison. So I'll let it stand. It's a fair comparison that doesn't look bad upon your client. So, in my opinion. So
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you. So again, I brought that up because that's the research I was looking into, and it broke down the speed of Silver Surfer. And Silver Surfer is basically able to act somewhere between 6 to 8 times faster than the speed of the human brain. So by the time Silver Surfer has decided to kill Wanda, enacted a method to kill Wanda, put in the effort to decide to use the power cosmic, be able to use the power cosmic and enact that power cosmic, Wanda would be dead literally before she knew it. There would be no way for Wanda to be able to act fast enough to even be able to try to protect herself or even react to what the Silver Surfer was doing. Wanda has nowhere near the speed to be able to, or even reality warping abilities to be able to react or in any way counteract the speed of the Silver Surfer.
Very good. Okay. How does Wanda respond? How does her lawyer respond to that argument?
In response to the assertion that my client is an ant and the Silver Surfer is an elephant, I offer the evidence that Wanda Maximoff can tap and channel energies from other dimensions, as well as mystical and non-mystical entities.
I didn't say that.
Other than Chthon and Katorak and Morrigan. She's actually considered the nexus being of the central universe of Earth 616. Wanda is a nexus being, and since she is a nexus being, she acts as a living focal point for Earth's and her universe's mystical energies. Your characterization of Wanda as an ant is sheer lunacy.
Say that.
She's not an ant. In fact, no one would consider a nexus being. You don't get the name nexus being by being an ant. And as for Mr. Surfer's speed, Wanda counts on one of her powers being clairvoyance. She could see the future. She's used a divination spell to search for Hope's location. She had a vision about Black Knight's fate when he was in another dimension. So to say that she could not see the Surfer coming is preposterous. She has the power to bind and stop someone moving with her magic, and she's used that on beings like Colossus, who's very strong. You know who else has been bound? Silver Surfer. He was bound by Galactus to Earth for quite some time. So we're talking about weaknesses that Surfer has had exposed by Galactus, who's supposed to be his master. And he was bound to Earth, which is the same power that Wanda counts with. So whether Silver Surfer is fast is of no moment. She can see him coming regardless. Another power that she counts with is scanning, where she is capable to invoke Thoth's gaze to examine an area and see what the non-native beings had been there. While using such a spell, she could also see that she and her teammates were in the middle of an ambush. She can see Silver Surfer coming. But not only that, Mr. Surfer's advocate has said that my client lacks the ability to warp reality to the extent necessary to take on Silver Surfer. One of Wanda Maximoff's best known powers is her ability to warp, shape, defy, and bend reality itself. She has been stated to be one of the world's greatest and most dangerous reality warpers. She can use this ability to create anything and everything from nothing, including her own children. She could also disintegrate or erase a person or object from existence. She can combine this ability with her combat powers, as she did against Hope Summers. So, to my esteemed colleague's argument that Ms. Maximoff simply isn't of the ability to compete against Silver Surfer, she has more than enough abilities to compete with Mr. Surfer.
Interesting. Very good points. Or were you not done? Sorry.
No, that's good. I yield to my esteemed colleague.
I mean, very good points and all that. I mean, I'm not, and like I said, I try not to argue both sides. But I can't help thinking of the WandaVision, the dome she created. I wonder if Silver Surfer can pass through that, or if he would be confined on one side of the barrier or the other. So if she, say, erected a barrier around him or around them and all that, like a small like town block or whatever, I would see that as a way to diminish his speed too, because it's very hard to build up speed if you're confined to a small bubble. You can only move so quickly or build speed so quickly, no matter who you are, that if he confines his mobility, he can't really go as fast. I mean, that's how I'm kind of picturing things right now. So, Comic Collector, how would you?
Well, simply put, to tear down that argument is just the simple fact of two things. One, Silver Surfer can teleport, and two, Silver Surfer is able to slip between dimensions. So I don't see there being any physical barriers. Now, when it comes to, as you had brought out, Galactus, you're talking about Galactus, the only person that would be more proficient in using the power cosmic. Again, the greatest force in the Marvel Universe, even more so than the Infinity Stones, being used to hold down Silver Surfer. Of course he was able to do that. That's ridiculous. It's not a fair comparison to say that, one, Scarlet Witch would be in any way the caliber, in any way, shape, or form the caliber of Galactus. That's just an unfair comparison, especially to say that just because she has that power, she would be able to use it at the proficiency that someone like Galactus is. It's preposterous. But then again, to go against the rest of your arguments, I never said that Scarlet Witch lacked any powers. I never said she was an ant. I said Victorious was an ant in comparison to Silver Surfer in her proficiency of using the power cosmic. I said it was unfair to compare Scarlet Witch quelling the power cosmic from Victorious as being able to quell it from Silver Surfer. It's a completely different power level. You can't just say that just because someone has the ability to use a power that everyone is there for, or that, and she took that person out, therefore everybody is able to be taken out that uses that power as well. It's like trying to compare, I'd say, Wong to Doctor Strange. It's ridiculous. Sure, they both use magic, but obviously one is going to be harder to take on than the other. So it's ridiculous to try to bring in lesser beings to try to bring up Scarlet Witch's powers. If Scarlet Witch's powers were so great, you wouldn't have to bring in lesser beings that use the same power as the Silver Surfer, just nowhere near to the capacity the Silver Surfer uses them, just to make it look like Scarlet Witch could stand a chance. So of course Scarlet Witch has powers. Scarlet Witch can bend reality. What I said specifically was that she can't do it to a level to stop the Silver Surfer. Sure, she may have precognition. So does the Silver Surfer. As I said, the Silver Surfer, to the point where he can turn back time if need be. What I said is that she cannot counteract Silver Surfer's speed. She may see him coming. She may see her own fate. And I'd like to think Wanda would be smart enough to see the power within the Silver Surfer to know that if the Silver Surfer is coming after her, she's dead by the time she even realizes that that's going to happen. Because one, Silver Surfer doesn't like to go out of his way to kill people. So by the time he's enacted upon himself that he's going to end somebody, it's done before she's even had the chance to have that precognition. Again, going back to the fact that Silver Surfer can act between 6 to 8 times faster than the human brain. By the time she's had that cognition, she's already dead. She's already lived that cognition. So sure, she may see it coming. What I said was, and what I truly believe, is that she does not have the power to stop that. She doesn't have the ability to enact anything that would be able to stop her from living out that fate. She is very strong, sure. She may be one of the strongest characters in the Marvel Universe, sure. But she cannot defeat the Silver Surfer. She might be able to put up a fight if the Silver Surfer doesn't immediately want to just kill her. But if the Silver Surfer wants her dead, she will be dead, and there's nothing she can do about it. That's just how it is.
Cool. And Sam, unless you have any objections, we do have a bit of a time crunch as far as Comic Collector is concerned. So I'll give you a chance to respond to his statement. But unless you guys have unless both of you have no objections, I'd say we move to closing statements, so that way he's not on here too late, since he is on the East Coast.
Sure, I do want to respond to his latest argument, and then I'll rest. Wanda has demonstrated the ability to enter people's minds with or without their agreement. She can control their minds. She can induce people to sleep. She can create realistic illusions in the minds of others to trick her opponents. Not only that, she can manipulate her opponent's emotions. She can create fear and anger and pain in others. Additionally, she too has the ability to teleport herself and others to any place she wants across large distances. She can travel interdimensionally. She can summon and teleport persons or objects to her or any other person's location, and can banish and teleport people away from her location. Essentially, as Silver Surfer moves at great speed, she can simply create portals around herself that send him in any direction she chooses. Not only that, Ms. Maximoff has proven to be quite capable of manipulating and controlling time. As a Nexus being, she has the ability to alter the probabilities of cosmic timelines. And let's not forget what her first power was: probability manipulation. She has been stated to be a probability manipulator of the highest order. Silver Surfer lost to Impossible Man because he was able to do the impossible. Wanda is also able to do the impossible. She can create spontaneous combustion, spontaneous rapid decay, molecular destabilization, energy control, inertia redirection, containing or removing air from a particular volume, canceling other powers and abilities. That's what we're talking about. She can nullify Silver Surfer's power cosmic and move on with her life. She doesn't see him as a threat. She'd probably invite him over for dinner to sit down with the family and share a calm evening in front of the television watching her favorite sitcoms. Thank you, Your Honor. I rest my case.
Very good. Well, don't rest it quite just yet. So now we move into closing statements. So Comic Collector, take it away with your closing statement for Silver Surfer versus Scarlet Witch. So take it away. Oh, my bad. Sorry. I meant to hit this button.
Sure. So, of course, it's never been said that Scarlet Witch was not a capable mutant. She was an incapable and very powerful character. Obviously, she is. It's been proven, and ever since her inception, as I had mentioned in X-Men 4, she's been portrayed as being one of the most powerful beings in the Marvel Universe. That being said, Silver Surfer has had about the same treatment. The only difference is Silver Surfer throughout the 70s and 80s had a very different going about things as opposed to Scarlet Witch, where Scarlet Witch, for the most part, disappeared, whereas Silver Surfer was still having several ongoings, and of course, Infinity Watch, Infinity Gauntlet, everything going on with Galactus and Thanos, as the cosmic realm became more of the focus for Marvel. So, of course, he became the victim of several storylines. be it jokey issues here and there where he would lose to joke characters just for fun. And like, of course, Impossible Man. Impossible Man, much like Bat-Mite, just the kind of joke character that, sure, is kind of a pain, but at the end of the day, they're not necessarily a threat any more than they are a joke. And they pose no real threat beyond just simple tricks, simple illusions, simple pranks, if you will. And they're just made for fun comic issues. So when it comes down to actually looking at power levels, at abilities, yeah, of course, Scarlet Witch is proficient in many of the things the Silver Surfer is. That's never been the argument. The argument is the fact that Silver Surfer has he's been around far longer in the universe than Scarlet Witch has. And much like Scarlet Witch, Nornrad's origins come from pain and they come from suffering. They come from loss, that of losing his entire life, losing his wife, sacrificing his homeworld to be the herald of Galactus, just so that he and his family could see a tomorrow, even if they could never see it together. So Silver Surfer knows pain. The Silver Surfer knows rage, to the point where there was even a separate clone of Silver Surfer that's basically all of those negative things of the Surfer. And he's had to overcome those obstacles. The Surfer has been tested. He's been tried and tested in any way possible. That's why I say that he's the most powerful force of good in the entire Marvel Universe, because he truly is an omniscient good. He's able to do interdimensional travel at a far greater level than Wanda Maximoff is, simply because, sure, Wanda has the ability, but Silver Surfer has the power. So Scarlet Witch is able to dabble in what Silver Surfer has mastered. And Scarlet Witch, I'm sure, doesn't see Silver Surfer as a threat, but that would only serve to hurt Scarlet Witch more than it would the Silver Surfer. Because, of course, that's pride at the end of the day. And one thing's for certain, Scarlet Witch is shown to be a very prideful character. And when it comes to maybe downplaying the power of someone like the Silver Surfer, someone who can take you out before you've had a chance to make any sort of portals or to make any sort of protective barrier, and especially one that would be able to stop someone like the Silver Surfer, that pride will just prove to be her downfall. And that's even given the chance that she'll have an opportunity to be prideful. So taking everything into consideration, sure, Scarlet Witch is powerful, and she has a lot of abilities that would end just about any being in the Marvel Universe. It just so happens that Silver Surfer is not one of those beings. And that's just, in my opinion, going to be the fact at the end of the day.
Very, very, very good. All right, Sam, take it away with Wanda's closing argument.
First off, I would like to thank the court and my esteemed colleague, Comic Collector, for this opportunity to present this case. In the words of Scarlet Witch, I'm sorry, but this will hurt. Scarlet Witch has shown not only is she a match for Silver Surfer, but she can quell the power cosmic, the battery, if you will, of the Silver Surfer's powers. Without that battery, the Silver Surfer is nothing more than a paperweight in this battle. He can zip around all he wants, but without Galactus's permission, the lapdog must sit, must heal. On the other hand, Scarlet Witch is the embodiment of chaos, of improbability. While we sit and mull over the probability of Silver Surfer's abilities with respect to the Scarlet Witch, we do so at the peril of neglecting the very source of her power, which is improbability. Her hex power brings to bear the most impossible scenarios. To count her out in any battle is to take one's life in their own hands. The evidence has shown that not only has she quelled the power cosmic, but also she has the abilities, and those abilities in a far greater degree, as Impossible Man, who made a plaything of Silver Surfer. My esteemed colleague has failed to address those two instances to satisfy the jury here. As a result, there can be only one outcome. That my client, Ms. Wanda Maximoff, is the champion of this contest. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I ask that you decide this case in favor of Wanda Maximoff and that she be declared victorious. Thank you.
Very, very, very good. So I'm going to flop us back there. So very good. I very much enjoyed both your guys' arguments. I had a very long week, otherwise, because I've been half asleep during this whole thing. So I apologize if I look like I'm uninterested. It's me trying to stay awake. So if you got anyone in the chat who hasn't voted, follow the link down below, vote, and we will, in about a minute or two, we will have the results. You both are free to vote for yourself, obviously. I have no rule against that. So this has been a lot of fun. So whoever wins will get to move forward. And because you guys are in the first bracket on the other side, you guys actually, the person who wins has to only win 2 more to win the season. So the way it's set up and all that. So it was quite an accident the way it's set up, but luck of the draw. So, but I look forward to either your guys' arguments in the future. So let me
To be
share.
fair, I've also had to go up against One Punch Man and Scarlet Witch, so it hasn't been that easy.
Yes, that is true. But you have gone up. Yeah, it's kind of funny that you're the one who said this One Punch Man unfair, and then fate put you up against One Punch Man. So it was kind of a what's the expression? He who smelt it dealt it kind of a thing. So it's like, well,
yeah,
you overcame, so that was the thing. So all right, about another 30 seconds or so. Vote now or forever hold your peace. So I'm just ducked down, so I'm basically behind my picture. All right, a lot of fun. But this has been a lot of fun. So all right, here we go. Drum roll says the results of Scarlet Witch versus Silver Surfer. Scarlet Witch pulls ahead with 3 votes to Silver Surfer's 2. So by the skin of her teeth, she warped reality to fit her wishes. So congratulations, Sam. You move forward to the next round. Whoever to face whoever wins that matchup. Comic Collector, I am sorry that you did not prevail. And you put up a heck of a fight with Silver Surfer, and I welcome you back for next season if you wish to have some more fun, because I do enjoy your arguments. So.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Comic Collector, you're a fantastic opponent. And if I had the opportunity to go up against anyone, I'm glad that it was you.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. And same as well.
Yeah, and I do appreciate the first ever true. I mean, we've had Rob from Not Near Mint have a close to lawyer kind of argument and all that, but you truly brought out the lawyer argument to the debate portion of the show, and I appreciate that. It was a lot of fun to watch, to hear an actual court case kind of a thing. It's like going like, I better sit here quietly and respectfully. I don't want to get in trouble. I'm the judge. So a lot of fun. So all right, see you guys next time for the next round. I believe here, let me get the numbers out real quickly. Let me see. The next matchup will be, let's see, oh yeah, it will be Darth Vader versus Dr. Fate. So a lot of good matchup. It is Life with 2 YouTubers versus JP Collects. So, and this is actually a grudge match since JP did some trash talking to Sharon and Rena, and so those girls are out for his blood. So it should be a lot of fun A lot of fun for that matchup. So stay tuned for that next round. So you guys will. So Sam, you will either face Darth Vader or Dr. Fate. So you
I
can.
welcome the challenge.
Yep, you can tune in and obviously see how they argue, or what your strategy for Wanda should be against them. So either way, it'll be a lot of fun. So all right, thank you guys for coming. Thank you everyone for watching or listening on the podcast, YouTube, however you're doing it. And I'll see you guys next time for the next show. See you guys later. Happy collecting. See you guys next time. Bye-bye.